Joining me here is our sports correspondent, Jonathan Ragiv. Jonathan, we're going to start with the only sport that senior producer Shai Yakir cares about, which is soccer. All right, this weekend, the final World Cup teams will be decided. Big games. Who's on the bubble here? Yeah,
there's the European qualifiers, 4 games in Europe, but more interesting are the intercontinental playoffs. Australia will play Honduras, and Peru are in New Zealand. That's the Peru finished 5th in their group, the South American group. And these images of Peruvian fans are actually from the airport in Auckland, New Zealand. There are many Peruvians living there apparently, and they're very excited. Apparently,
Peruvians are living in New Zealand.
These are the images, and they're very happy to see their national team.
Nice dancing there. Got some.
Once again, yeah. Now for those fans, it's certainly a problem because they support Peru, but they live in New Zealand for a while. They like the New Zealand national team called the All Whites. We can hear some of the fans in the airport trying to understand what to do with this dilemma.
I've been here 11 years and I am a New Zealand citizen, and I always support all whites. But in this time, it's like, oh my gosh, what should I do? And of course, I have to, I guess, support Peru. Sorry, New Zealand.
They're torn there. Well, either way they win and either way they lose, because one of their loved nations will go.
The other won't.
All right, so that's right. So what else is happening, in the world of World Cup preparations, World Cup teams?
So we saw some teams that still have to fight for their place in Russia, but one team doesn't. That's world champion Germany. They're easily qualified to the next round. So what do? They have time to present their new jerseys for the World Cup. If you want to know what the German players will look like at the World Cup, this is what it is. Again, the traditional white jerseys come in there with a black stripe, but again, Germany presenting their...
I prefer the airport dancing. That's what I like that better.
It is more exciting. It is more exciting.
All right, so these are the defending world champs. This is their new uniform. How exciting! It looks like, soccer. There's the soccer kit right there.
Always interesting to see how those teams will look like come the big games.
All right, that's the Germans. All right, so moving now to baseball and really tragic news that happened a couple days ago. One of the great stars from in the 2000s, the baseball pitcher Roy Halladay, a 2-time Cy Young winner, the best pitcher in baseball, died in a plane crash.
Yes, unclear for now what has happened, but what we do know is that he was in a plane. There we see it, the plane simply crashed into the water. There we see it in Florida. He was flying the plane by himself. He's also a pilot.
His dad was a pilot. He grew up around planes, and once he retired, he became an avid pilot himself.
And yes, and he was flying this plane, and the plane crashed. We do not know what the reasons are. Roy Halladay, as you mentioned, played for the Phillies, played for Toronto. Big pitcher, one of the biggest pitchers in the game, and died in tragic circumstances, which is very, very sad.
2-time Cy Young winner, and he's not eligible for the Hall of Fame yet, but it's likely he will be a Hall of Famer.
Most probably.
All right, moving forward to our last story, a dose of extreme sports. I'm waiting for this. What you got for us here?
You mentioned Donald Trump is in China, so if he has time, maybe he will move from Beijing to Chengdu. This is where these games are taking place. A brand new champion in the slopestyle mountain biking, and we see there skating, and of course there's skateboarding as well. Always beautiful images, these ones from the extreme sports world.
Extreme sports, there you go. I still take the Peruvian dancers at the airport.
I would too, I agree.
All right, so that is a dose of sports news from around the world. Jonathan Ragiv, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Yeah.